Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. Hope you all are doing well out there. Just a reminder for you guys, if you've not done so already, join the Locked On Cougars Insider Group. Get my inside intel on all things BYU sports that I am hearing. I don't proclaim to be the insider, but I am an insider. And if you want my inside intel, join us today on the Locked On Cougars Insider Group. Comes to your phone in the form of a text message. The best part is you get a 14-day free trial before you're charged a single penny, and it's just $4.99 a month to be a part of the group. So consider joining today. Click the link in the show notes below, whether you're watching this on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, or reach out to us and we'll get you squared away with the Locked On Cougars Insider Group. All right. Former Baylor coach Matt Rhule did a really, really good job when he coached in the Big 12. He made the Baylor Bears an absolute force in the Big 12 Conference. Well, apparently he has forgotten his roots because he is talking about dominance of the Big 10 and how things are going to be great. He says this, and it was recently during a press conference. He took a shot at the Big 12, essentially pushing SEC and more particularly Big 10 propaganda, saying this, quote, "There are lots of kids I would love to recruit that have committed to a Big 12 school or somewhere like that come to camp. If you want to play in the Big 12 over the Big 10, I got it, but make no mistake, there's a big difference," unquote. All right, coach. So you're going to start towing the company line here. Let's remind people that Matt Rhule has taken over Nebraska, and he has now gone a grand total of, he's a veteran coach of just 3 games over 500 at 59 and 56 across stops at Temple, Baylor, and Nebraska. He did really, really nice things at Temple and Baylor, but obviously he is looking to rebuild Nebraska here. Rhule is now just 12 and 13 in 2 seasons and 6 and 12 in conference play overall with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Listen, I will listen to this come from top-tier coaches. Let's say back in the day, Nick Saban wanted to crow about the SEC's dominance. I'll listen to that. I'll listen to a guy, I don't know, Ryan Day from Ohio State. I can't stand Ohio State. Just that's a personal preference. I just can't stand the Buckeyes. But they are the defending national champions. If Ryan Day wants to say this about the Big 12, okay, I'll hear him out on this, but I'm not going to listen to a guy who is sub 500 in his run over 2 seasons at in the Big 10 say that the Big 10 is better than the Big 12. He also says this because he knew he was going to get the hate. Quote, "The Big 12 is going to go nuts now. I know that. I'm going to be on X and all that stuff, but it's the reality. The Big 10 and the SEC, especially moving forward, are going to be here higher than everybody else," unquote. Okay, you know what? Why don't you just spell it out for us that we should essentially just stop playing football if you're BYU or anybody in the Big 12 or the ACC or, heaven forbid, anybody else in the G5 ranks right now? That is what is wrong with college football right now, is what he is saying right there. Yes, it very well may come down in a decade or so. That's what the reports are, that the SEC and the Big 10 break away from the rest of mainline college football and create their own entity, NFL light, as it were. And maybe BYU makes the cut. Maybe they don't. Maybe Utah, as they claim that they're going to make the Big 10. I'll believe it when I see it, but that's another story for another day. What they are putting out there is essentially telling the rest of college football, y'all don't matter. And that is what's wrong with this sport right now. We need more parity in this sport. You know what makes the NFL great? You know why the NFL is made for television? You know why it is must-see TV and it has like 90 of the top 100 rated broadcasts across all of TV in general in any given year? It's because in the NFL, there is parity. Yes, there are dynasties out there. We have seen the dynasties of different decades. I'm a 49ers fan. Guess what? They were the team of the 80s. The team of the 90s, my hated rival, the Dallas Cowboys. The 2000s, that was the New England Patriots. Right now, it's kind of Kansas City's world that we're all living in. I know they just lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. Stop. I get it. Go back to the 70s. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. There have been dominance in those decades, but how many in a decade did those teams win? 3 or 4 Super Bowl titles? Well, that means there's 5 or 6 other titles that are out there being won by other teams. The parity of teams in the NFL with the draft and everything that's going on, the ability to go from worst to first and have an opportunity to make the playoffs in a 1-year turnaround, that exists in the NFL. It does not exist in the same realm right now in college football. And to watch the SEC and the Big 10 say, hey, it's cute you guys think you guys can compete with us, it grinds my gears. And yes, I'm a homer. I have watched BYU for decades be shut out of opportunity after opportunity to play with the big boys. And now when they make the cut to be a part of the Power Four as a member of the Big 12 Conference, to watch the kind of the snubbery, the I'm wiggling put my thumb on my hand and wiggling my fingers from the Big Ten. The elitist mentality that comes from a middle tier Big Ten coach and Matt Rhule here, who coached in the Big 12. He knows what it takes to compete in this league. He built up Baylor. It screams what's wrong with this sport. I hope the Big 12 goes out and kicks the crap out of the Big 10 this season. I know that I saw this. I think it's Cincinnati has Nebraska on their schedule. Scott Satterfield, Cincinnati Bearcats, consider me the day you play Nebraska the biggest Bearcats fan known to man. Go and kick the crap out of the Cornhuskers. And yes, go Big Red fans. I had a great time when BYU went to Nebraska and won on that Hail Mary. I was standing in the stands in that end zone and saw Mitch Matthews come down with that football. It was absolutely electric. I enjoyed the game day atmosphere there in Lincoln. It's absolutely incredible. Anybody who has a chance to go to Lincoln and take in a Nebraska Cornhusker game, you should take the opportunity to do just that. Thousands of Cougar fans and myself were there. It was at 2015, if I recall correctly. It might have been later than that, but regardless, really, really fun moment. But I do not want to hear this from a coach who was sub 500 in his 2 seasons at the helm of Nebraska. As I said, I will listen to it from top tier coaches in those leagues because that's what I expect from them. I don't expect it from a guy who, like Matt Rhule, has coached in the Big 12, knows the quality of football this league has, and knows what it takes to compete. The Big 12, yeah, we may not have the name brands right now in college football that make other people say, hey, I got to tune into that. But the nice part about the Big 12 last year, it showed it was compelling every single game. There were a lot of really, really fun football games. The basketball is unparalleled in my mind. But this is what's wrong with college football. And yes, I know that NIL, I know that transfer portal is obviously causing a lot of people to say, this is not the college football I fell in love with. But to watch a league or 2 leagues, in the case of SEC and Big Ten, to essentially be saying, we're better than all y'all, and y'all can essentially sit on it. We need to be more collaborative in college football and create its own identity. Yes, I know that may already be gone. I know that the soul of college football, guys who put on for your program, we talked on this podcast, if you missed it, if you're watching this in an individual circumstance, and you missed the conversation about Keelan Marion and Harrison Taggart opting to bolt for greener pastures for BYU football. Yeah, that era of guys who put on for a university for 3 and 4 years, and it's now more of a team you buy. Yeah, that era of college football may be gone. I'd like to think there's some shred of it out there, but to watch the SEC and the Big Ten doing this and essentially saying, that's cute, you guys think you're really in our league and or at least can compete with us, that makes me mad. And I hope that the Big 12 take that on the chin, use it as bulletin board material, and I'll have to look and see how many Big 12 versus Big 10 games there are this season. But I will be rooting for every Big 12 team in every circumstance, no matter how down the Big 12 or the Big 10 team is. I'm rooting for the Big 12 because I don't like this, and it screams everything that's wrong with this sport. I think that many of you, like myself, absolutely love. It is my first love. College football is what I fell in love with as a sports fan first and foremost in my life. I'm a sports fan in general, but college football is my baby. I'd like to think there's some semblance of the college football I loved still existing, but to watch the SEC and the Big Ten try and rip that away doesn't sit right with me. All right, that's it. I think I've done enough crowing about different things today on the podcast. But as always, thank you for all your all support. Continue to subscribe, rate, review, share it with your family and friends. Continue to help us build this community on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, talking all things BYU every single day. And as always, once again, thank you for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. And as once again, thank you for being an everydayer right here on the Locked On Cougars podcast.